Hello, my name is Danielle Johnson-Kutch, Head of Global Government Affairs at DocuSign and Chair of the ESRA, or Electronic Signature and Records Association Board. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today as we commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Electronic Signatures in Global and National Commerce, or ESIGN Act, a milestone moment in digital innovation signed into law by President Bill Clinton on June 30th, 2000. The ESIGN Act laid the foundation for a new era of commerce, one where digital signatures hold the same legal weight as pen and paper. It helped usher in a wave of transformation across industries, removing outdated barriers and giving people the confidence to transact online. Since its passage, the ESIGN Act has made everyday tasks faster, more affordable, and more accessible. It has helped power the rise of mobile banking, telehealth, remote work, digital commerce, and more, cementing the role of secure electronic transactions in modern life. Its legacy continues to grow. From artificial intelligence or AI-powered contracts to blockchain agreements and biometric authentication, today's most advanced technologies still rely on the fundamental principles the ESIGN Act put in place: security, efficiency, and trust. ESRA, the Industry Association for Digital Transactions, and our members played a vital role in the passage of the ESIGN Act 25 years ago. And today, we continue to advance and accelerate the adoption of digital transactions and related technologies across all verticals. We provide thought leadership, legislative advocacy, education, and events to inspire a trusted digital economy. During today's webinar, you will hear from several of our ESRA member representatives as we celebrate the ESIGN anniversary and discuss the future of electronic signatures and the important work ESRA is doing in this space. To begin, I'd like to share a statement from John Davidson, Chief of Staff to President Clinton. President Clinton understood that for the Internet to reach its full potential, people had to trust it, not just to search and share, but to conduct meaningful transactions. The ESIGN Act established that trust by making electronic signatures legally binding. It became the legal bedrock that still supports so much of our digital economy, whether you're signing a lease on your laptop, authorizing a medical release from your smartphone, or buying a vehicle from across the country. This law empowered Americans to do business without a printer, a stack of paper, or a fountain pen. 25 years later, it remains one of the quiet engines that keeps the American economy running. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you will consider joining ESRA for future events. I will now turn it over to Margot Tank.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm currently the co-chair of DLA Piper's Global Financial Services sector and have been counsel to ESRA since its inception in 2004. Along with my colleagues at the time, Jerry Buckley and David Whitaker, we represented the Electronic Financial Services Council, a precursor to ESRA, and we spent nearly a year drafting and advocating for the federal ESIGN Act. Danielle asked me to give a little background on why the enactment of ESIGN was a gating issue for businesses wanting to take advantage of the Internet. You have to recognize the environment back in 1998. The Internet was becoming accessible, and businesses could see its value in its ability to reach more customers, create efficiencies, and lower transaction costs. But there were questions about the validity and enforceability of using electronic signatures and records. Most state and federal laws then, and still today, have writing, signing, and original requirements. And the issue at the time was how to meet those paper-based requirements in an electronic environment. In 1999, recognizing the need for a uniform commercial law to address this uncertainty, the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws issued for adoption by each state the Uniform Electronic Transactions Act. While some states adopted UEDA in its purest form, others were amending it to exclude various transaction types and consumer disclosures, impacting its usefulness and uniformity. Out of this lack of uniformity and the growing need for a federal baseline, ESIGN was conceived and its appeal recognized by Congress. If it wasn't obvious before the COVID pandemic, the resulting need to conduct transactions remotely demonstrated the wisdom of creating legal certainty around the validity and enforceability of electronic signatures and records. 25 years later, ESIGN and UEDA have proven to be remarkably durable. And even as advances in technology such as blockchain, smart contracts, agentic AI have emerged, the principles articulated and the technology neutral framework adopted in ESIGN and the UETA have proven flexible to accommodate all of these developments. While the adoption successes have been notable, as you will hear from some of the ESRA members today, there's still work to be done to achieve the full potential of ESIGN. ESRA is committed to continuing its advocacy and education efforts in the coming years. Come join us. And in the meantime, happy National ESIGN Day.
Thank you, Margot. We'll now turn it over to Dale Hardy at Proof to cover current impact and adoption of ESIGN.
Hi, my name is Dale Hardy with Proof. I'm going to briefly talk to you about the impact ESIGN has had across nearly all sectors of the economy. The ESIGN Act did much more than just create a legal foundation for electronic signatures in the United States. It opened the doors for countless industries to digitize. Costs have been reduced, time has been saved, security has been increased, all real improvements to our daily lives. Before ESIGN, many common tasks or processes in a paper-based transaction could take weeks or even longer. Just take a second to think about the amount of paperwork or time that used to be required to do what should have been relatively simple things, like become a new patient at a doctor's office, open a bank account, or even sign a lease for a new apartment. Fortunately, thanks to the ability to sign documents both instantly and seamlessly, you can now do these things in just a few minutes. Industry reports really underscore these improvements, finding that ESIGN can result in 30% faster transaction times, 15-day faster turnaround times on contracts, 25% improvement in compliance efficiency, and an average cost savings of over $21 per transaction. While it's easy to think the impact of the ESIGN Act is limited just to digitizing signatures and documents, in reality, it's responsible for sparking innovative policy ideas to transform other longstanding paper-based processes too. For example, every year, millions of Americans meet with the notary public to get a document notarized. Most of the time, this involves traveling to meet the notary, supplying the paper document, wet signing the document, watching the notary apply their stamp, seal, or signature, then traveling back home. But now, that entire process has been brought online and digitized. Recognizing an opportunity created by ESIGN, in the early 2010s, policymakers began work to enable online notarization, culminating in 2012 when Virginia became the first state to allow for fully online notarizations. Since then, more than 40 other states have passed similar laws, and today, millions of people complete notarizations online every year. This wave of notarization adoption online has benefited numerous industries, but one notably impacted has been real estate. Online notarization is a key part of a fully electronic mortgage closing, which offers a convenient and efficient alternative to the traditional in-person process. Some really great statistics here that show online notarization has resulted in up to a 31% reduction in document errors, a savings of up to 7 days in processing times, and the elimination of printing, shipping, and storing dozens of pages of documents per file. It's easy for those of us who spend all of our time around them to take electronic signatures for granted, but policymakers in some spaces have not been as quick to embrace them, despite industry and consumer support. One area where ESRA is focused on delivering the benefits of electronic signatures is in the automotive space, where outdated regulations in some jurisdictions still require wet ink signatures across a variety of documents. Electronic signatures don't just reduce document errors and processing times, they also tangibly help improve the lives of everyday consumers. And ESRA is telling their story too. Fully electronic processes help all of us, especially those of us with busy work schedules and family commitments, those of us with disabilities or mobility impairments, those of us with a lack of access to services in our immediate areas, or those of us in our armed services deployed overseas. ESRA and our industry partners are continuing to lead the charge to digitize those remaining sectors of our economy from auto and beyond, advancing policies that support electronic signature adoption to the benefit of us all. So thank you for following along with me. Next, I'll pass it over to Casey Garber to share ESRA's perspective on the future.
Thank you, Dale. As we commemorate this important milestone of the 25th anniversary of the ESIGN Act, we are proud to celebrate the progress we've made, and we are energized by the possibilities that lie ahead. Electronic signatures have become a foundational part of how we live and work. As we have heard, the digital transformation thus far has unlocked new levels of efficiency, access, and innovation. But the digital economy is continuing to evolve rapidly, and we must evolve with it. That's why ESRA is looking to the future, not just to preserve the success of the past 25 years, but to shape the next generation of secure, trusted digital transactions. We're asking bold questions about the future of the ESIGN Act and how we can strengthen and modernize it to meet the needs of today's interconnected world. We're developing guidance and frameworks and best practices that address critical issues like digital identity, interoperability, and long-term record retention. These efforts are designed to support both innovation and integrity, ensuring that digital transactions remain trusted, accessible, and legally sound. At the same time, we recognize the critical role that government plays in bridging the digital divide, particularly in that last mile of services where outdated, paper-based processes still create friction. We're committed to working with the public sector leaders to close those gaps and bring digital solutions to the place where they're needed the most. As we look ahead, ESRA is excited to continue fostering dialogue, building coalitions, and advocating for a more connected, efficient, and trustworthy digital future. Together, we have the opportunity to ensure that the next 25 years of digital transformation are even more impactful, inclusive, and resilient than the last. The future is being written now, and it's being signed electronically. Danielle, I'll turn it over to you to close us out.
Hello again, and thank you for joining us today to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the ESIGN Act. I encourage you as current or future members of ESRA to join us for future conversations. And stay tuned in the coming weeks as we provide more materials and additional information on our website, esignrecords.org, as well as on our LinkedIn, which will include testimonials from member companies and additional materials about the value of the ESIGN Act and the work ahead that we will be doing as ESRA to advocate for further digital transformation. We welcome you all to be a part of this important conversation online and in person, particularly at our upcoming events this fall. Finally, a special thanks to our speakers and to the Clinton Foundation for your support and participation in this webinar today. We look forward to seeing you all again in the future. Thank you.